Skipper and research scientist Greg Sass isn't taking any chances. What's the idea behind the net?
This gives one little bit of defense for the driver as trying to protect himself.
Okay, and what happened there?
Occasionally we get such large ones that come up into the net with such force that they'll actually blow a hole right through it.
40 years ago, catfish farmers in the south imported a fish from China to clean up waste from the breeding ponds. Before long, some escaped into the wild and began spreading north through the Mississippi River system. Like snakeheads today, they weren't an obvious problem at first. Then, almost overnight, they became a plague. Just absolutely full of fish down here. Nice flat, calm surface, but there's loads of them down there. Quite a fish soup, in fact. It's not until Greg accelerates, though, that the show begins. These are silver carp, and at up to 40 pounds, they're a serious danger to anyone in an open boat. Quite literally, they've smashed people's ribs and knocked people overboard. Seeing these as dots on the sonar is one thing, but just the noise of our motor provokes this mass escape response. There's up to 13 tons of these fish for every mile in the river. And that's hundreds of miles. They go all the way down to the mouth of the Mississippi. Just 10 years ago, the carp were virtually unknown here. Now, they've all but taken over. Absolutely stiff with fish. There we go, look at this. There's more silver than green in the water there. I actually feel the boat being buffeted as they bang into it. Oops. So who needs a rod? These things just jump into the boat. The real key to the success of this fish is in here. So there's the red of the gill filaments, and then in front of that, that is basically a filter, and nothing really gets through that. That filters down to objects the size of 4 microns. That's, you know, a speck of dust. It's a bit like us feeding every time we breathe, basically. So that's why these things are putting on the weight. And by just removing everything from the water, they're leaving nothing for the native species like buffalo, which are also filter feeders, but they're just not as good at it as these chaps are. So those native species, they're gradually losing weight. And, you know, if they get too thin, they're then not able to breed, and that's just why these things are taking over. These predatory fish prefer their food alive. So now I've actually got my hands on one of these things, I can see why it's called a snakehead.